So in this video, we're going to talk about the basics of geometry. So we're going to talk about points, lines, and planes, how to label them, and all of that. Okay, so a point, an exact location, doesn't take up any space, has no size, and you're going to put the name with a capital letter. So an example of this would be like, if my point was P, that's a capital P. Okay, and that's going to look like a dot, generally with a letter next to it. Okay, that's what a point is. It has no size again, and it's represented by a dot. So like this. Okay, lines are infinite straight paths of points. When you name it, you're naming using 2 points on a line. Okay, so here's an example. My points are A and B, but my line is going to be line L because that is what the line is, labeled. Okay, it is infinite, it never ends. So my plane here is going to be, back to this one, it can be labeled line L, or it can be labeled AB or BA, it doesn't matter, okay, because the line is continuous going both ways. When I mean continuous, it has these arrows, that means it's never ending, okay, so that's why when we have the 2 arrows above it like this, it means it's a never ending line. So when you're naming a line, you could say either line L if it's labeled like this L right here, or it can be A, B, or BA. It never ends both ways. Okay, a plane, an infinite flat surface that extends forever, no thickness. Generally, it has 3 points. So an example of this would be like this. Okay, it is a flat surface and it has 3 points in it. So your plane, you're going to label with the points. Okay, so plane DEF, or it's a plane P. Generally, if it's called P, it's talking about the different points on it. Okay, collinear means on the same line. Okay, linear means line, it has line in it, so it means it's on the same line. Okay, so in this, an example is CDE, right here. Okay, they're all on the same line. Okay, if I wanted to label what plane this is plane X. Okay, so you could say plane X if you wanted to. Okay, another, I'm going to erase that. Oops. One second. So I accidentally deleted the picture, but another set of points on that would have been FRG. They would have looked the same as CDE. They would have sat on the same line, so like that. Those would have also been collinear because they are coexisting on the same line. Okay, coplanar. It is on the same plane. So, back to this example, all of these points that sit on this plane, so again, my plane is this plane X, so it is that flat surface. So C, R, D, and E all sit on that plane. You can see that they're laying on that plane. G does not sit on that plane because it's not sitting on that flat surface, and F, as well as that, does not sit on that surface, so they are not coplanar. They do not coexist on the same plane. Okay, here's a postulate, an accepted statement or fact. Okay, 1, 1, through any 2 points, there is exactly one line. So there's always a line between 2 points. So I'm going to have a point, and there's always going to be a line that goes through them, no matter where they are in space. 1-4, through any 3 non-collinear points, there is exactly one plane. Okay, and we're going to see a couple of examples of this. Just make sure you guys write these down because they're going to come into play a little bit later. Okay, a line segment is a part of a line. It contains 2 endpoints and all points in between. When you're naming these, name using the 2 endpoints, okay? So this is going to look like this, okay? So if I have this, it is going to be labeled AB or BA. Notice there are no arrows on the end here, so there are no arrows right here. Okay, because this line is something that ends. A line segment is something that ends, okay? It is not a line that's continuous, it's a line segment. It's a piece of a segment. So you can label it AB or BA. Just make sure they don't have the arrows on the 2 top. So, again, it looks like this. Okay, a ray. Okay, so a ray, say you're thinking of a sun, you always have rays coming out. Okay, so it's going to be like an arrow. So this is an arrow that comes out. So It is a part of a line. So you can see that there's a line, but the arrows don't go both ways. Okay? Contains one endpoint, so my endpoint is where it starts, and all points to one side. So this one is pointing to that side. You name it using one endpoint and another point. This order matters. So you always want to start with the endpoint and go the direction that the ray is. So AB, so my A is my endpoint, and my B is where it continues. So that is the way my arrow is still going on it. So you can see it looks exactly like the picture above. You always start with the endpoint and then continue on to where the ray is going. So you cannot do it the opposite direction because B is not my endpoint. Okay, opposite rays. So this is when one goes one way and the other goes the other way. Okay, so two rays that share an endpoint and form a line. So my endpoint in this is C. So my first endpoint is C to A. Okay, and my next one, since my endpoint is still C, is C to B. So you got to get the arrow going both ways on this one. An intersection. When two or more geometry figures meet, it is the set of points that figures have in common. Okay, so two lines intersect in exactly one point, and two planes intersect in exactly one line. So we're going to see examples of this. So they just intersect at a certain point or a certain line. Okay, so we're going to be naming the intersections in this figure. Okay, so we're trying to figure out what planes intersect, what lines intersect, okay? So I'm going to flip back. So again, intersections are when two lines intersect or when two planes intersect. Okay, so we're going to be looking at two lines and two planes and where they intersect at. Okay, so if we're looking at this picture, a line FG, okay, it doesn't have arrows continuing, so it's a line segment. So we're going to label it FG. And how about we do, let me erase that, line HG. Okay, well, if I have line, I'm going to highlight that. Oops, hold on one second. This is going to take a minute. Okay, if I highlight, we got FG that we just did and HG. Okay, they're intersecting by point G. They both run into point G. So they intersect at point G. Okay, so let's try another one. Let's pick a different color of highlight. Maybe. There we go. Okay, so let's try, how about we can do segment ZY, and how about segment XY? Okay, they intersect, they both run into point Y. Okay, and there are tons of other segments that you could be doing in this, okay? So we got this segment and this segment, there's tons in this picture, okay? I'm just naming a few of them. So I'm going to erase this, because now we're going to do planes. So if I want to do a plane, let's say we do FGH. So we got, I'm going to highlight it. Pick a different color. FGH. So this plane. Okay, and how about they have to run into another plane? So we're going to do HGX. So this plane right here. Okay, so when we're doing this, I'm going to write plane FGH and plane HGX. Okay, again, that order doesn't matter when you're talking about planes as long as you include three different points. They're both running into this line segment right here. Okay, so we're going to write that line segment that they run into, HG or GH. Again, that doesn't matter. Okay, so how about we do another plane? So I'm going to erase this and erase that so we can see it. So how about we do, let's do this top plane here. So let's say plane FIH and another plane that's going to intersect it. How about this one on the side here? So plane FIZ, okay, and they're intersecting. So what segment runs into it? FI. They both share that segment FI. So FI is what they intersect, okay? It's whatever they both share that they run into, okay? And again, there's multiple other planes because there's multiple other sides of this that you could have done.